الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على خاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما على الإمام المنتظر وحجة الله الثاني عشر ابن العسكري المنتظر ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم القرآن الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا إن الله مع المحسنين. صلوات. In view of the fact that tonight is my first majlis, my first lecture for the Orlando Jamaat, and despite it being the sixth night, allow me to extend my sincere condolences and tasliyah to you on this arrival of the month of Muharram. You have been passing 5 nights in the Aza of Hussein ibn Ali, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. And here we are into the 6th night. Half of the month has already passed, half of the Ashra has already passed away. And while we are commemorating the shahadat of the Sarwar Shahidan, the Sayyid al-Shuhada, we find ourselves in unprecedented times. The COVID-19 pandemic has thrust all of us into territories that are unprecedented and uncharted. And over the past few months, our entire lives in this world have taken a massive and a dramatic turn, whether it be our personal lives, whether it be the social interactions with the others, whether it is our educational setup, our employment setup, our livelihood setup, medical setup, domestic setup, or for that matter the religious setup. But the one thing that remains constant when it comes to the Aza of Hussein ibn Ali is that the followers and the muhibbeen of Hussein ibn Ali will always surmount every single obstacle and every single hindrance to ensure that they adhere to the Azadari and the Aza of Hussein ibn Ali alayhim as-salam. And so despite the fact that we have lockdowns, near complete lockdowns, restrictions all over the world, the mu'mineen, the followers, the muhibbeen of Hussein ibn Ali have navigated through all of these pitfalls to still endeavor, to still strive, to still make an effort to mourn the tragedy of Hussein ibn Ali and to establish a connection with this holy Imam who's the fakhr of the Shiite faith, who's the iftikhar of the Shiite faith. Normally in these nights when the first of Muharram would start, and normally the first majlis, the first lecture, I would always normally make it an introductory ice-breaking effort whereby we leave the paving stone, the groundwork for, and build a platform for all the subsequent nights to be built upon. However, having entered into the 6th Shab, the 6th night of Muharram, I'm left bereft of this flexibility and luxury to take up an entire majlis or an entire lecture to build up a foundation. So very quickly and without much ado, we will embark on laying the brickworks for the remaining part of tonight's lecture and the subsequent few lectures that we've got on hand to see and make sure that we benefit, you benefit and I benefit from the discussions of teachings of Islam that have come to us because of the sacrifices of the holy Ma'asumeen at the peak of them all, the Shahadat of Husayn ibn Ali alayhi salam in the land of Taf and Nineveh. Allah in the Quran says, and this would form the fulcrum, the basics, the essence of all our discussion for the entire subsequent nights. Allah says, look, I'm willing to help, but there's a condition for me to help my servants. And the condition is that I'm willing to go to any extent to help my servants, but I need them to show some little resolve that they want me to help them. And the very first verse that I recited, which will be the topic of the entire lecture, and it might be a little different context because I will first give in tonight's lecture certain aspects that I want to discuss, and then as we come closer to the end of the lecture, I will tell you what the topic is about. The structure has been laid out in this way. So Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا, those who strive in our path, those who make an effort to come to me, those who make an effort to get close to me, لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who know Arabic will know the stress and the emphasis that God has placed in his answer. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا, those who strive in our path, those who make an endeavor to come to us, those who make an effort to reach closer to us, لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ, double emphasis and double stress. We will surely guide them, subulana, we will guide them towards us, towards our paths, so that they can come close to us. They make an effort, we make infinite efforts, and we'll pull them, but the effort needs to start from them. And why would I do that? Inna Allah ma'al muhsinin, God is always with the muhsinin, those who do ihsan, those who do good deeds. A person who's taken the first step to come towards me has in fact started doing ihsan, started doing hasana, started doing good deeds. When he's doing good deeds, he becomes a muhsin, and I'm always with the muhsinin. I will take him and pull him towards me. Now, having said this, which will form the basis of our discussion, let me give you certain paving stones and paving blocks that will build a platform on which we will then base all our discussions for the subsequent nights of the month of Muharram, Ashra Muharram, Ashra Ula of Muharram. See, when a person offers prayers, the riwayats are galore, numerous riwayat that talk about the ta'qibat that need to be recited after each prayer. And all of it, ta'qibat comes from the word aqab. Aqab means to follow. Du'as, dhikr, recitations that come after namaz are referred to as ta'qibat. You got taqibat of namaz al-subh, taqibat of namaz al-dhuhr, asr, maghrib and isha. But what we do are just a fraction of what the riwayat have mentioned. Numerous amal after namaz al-subh, numerous recitations after dhuhr, after asr, after maghrib, after isha. All the taqibat. One of the very recommended taqibat amongst the taqibat after every prayer is a set of 4 verses, that have been recommended to be recited after each prayer. So the first set of verses, Surah Al-Hamd, recommended emphatically to be recited after every namaz, after every salah. Second, Ayatul Kursi. Third, Ayah Shahadat. This Ayah Shahadat is verse 18 of Surah Ali Imran, which starts off with the word Shahidallahu annahu la ilaha illahu wal malaikatu wa ulul ilm. So Shahidallah, God bears witness and testimony. About what? La ilaha illa. There's no God except Allah. And in addition to God, who else bears testimony and witness? Al malaikah, the angels, wal ulul ilm, and those who possess the knowledge. We know who possesses the knowledge. Because it starts with the word Shahidallah, this ayah is referred to as Ayah Shahadat. Very important. It's extreme significance, recommended to be recited after every salat. And the fourth is referred to as Ayatul Mulk. Now, don't confuse this with Suratul Mulk. Surah Mulk is something else. Surah is the entire chapter in the Quran. In the Quran, you have a chapter called Suratul Mulk. In the Quran, there is an ayat which is referred to as Suratul Mulk. This ayat of Suratul Mulk is found in Surah Ali Imran, exactly like the Ali Imran in the third one. But Shahadat in Ali Imran, in Surah Ali Imran, was verse number 18. Ayatul Mulk is also in Surah Ali Imran. Surah Ali Imran is Surah number 3. Surah number 3, verse number 26 and 27. This is called Ayatul Mulk because it starts off like this. Qul. That means Allah is telling the Holy Prophet, "Oh Habib, oh my Prophet, Qul, tell them, Allahumma malik al-mulk, tu'ti al-mulk man tisha, wa tanzi'u al-mulk mimman tisha, tu'izzu man tisha, wa tudhillu man tisha, biyadika al-khayr, innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir." This is verse number 26 of Surah Ali Imran. And then there's verse number 27. Both of these are referred to be recited as Ayatul Mulk. How does it start off? It starts off with that Allah says, "Qul, O my Prophet, tell the people." Tell the people what? Tell the people how you address me, how you talk to me, how you think of me as. And that is what? Allahumma, O Lord, O my Allah, Malik al-Mulk. You are the Malik of the Mulk. Translation in English, a very naive and basic translation, means, O Lord, Allahumma, O Lord Malik al-Mulk, the master of the kingdom, the master of the dominion. Mulk means power. Mulk means authority. Mulk means sovereignty. Mulk means kingdom. Mulk means dominion. Malik al-Mulk, you are the master of authority. You're the master of power. You're the master of the dominion. You're the master of the kingdom. Malik al-Mulk. And what is your characteristic? When you're the Malik of the Mulk, you have the authority. Tu'til mulk man tasha. You give this authority in the level of a human being. You are infinite. You're not mortal. You're not human. But when you give it to humans according to their levels, in their finite level, tu'til mulk man tasha, you give a portion, a fraction, an insignificant portion, which becomes very significant when it comes to humans. You give an insignificant portion of your power to humans, because always given to a human will be finite, because humans are finite. It's only God and Allah who's infinite, and hence His powers are infinite. It says, tu'til mulk man tasha, you give your powers to those whom you please. Wa tanzi'ul mulka mimman tasha, and you take away the powers from whom you please. And this is what I want to prove to you. It says, Allahumma, God says, O my Prophet, O Muhammad, tell the people, Allahumma malik al-mulk, you have the power over the entire universe. You are the master of the kingdom. You are the authority over the dominion of existence. Everything that takes place in the world does not take place. Either you are directly or indirectly involved in granting permission for that thing to happen. Everything works with your will, either a direct will of yours or an indirect will of yours, but nothing can move, nothing can happen in this world without your permission, explicit or implicit, because you are Malik al-Mulk. Means what? It means that, God, you're Malik al-Mulk, you've got the authority, you are the one who gives life, you are the one who gives death, you are the one who gives us sustenance, you are the one who gives us izzat. You are the one, because of you don't give us dhillat and humiliation, but if you hold back your izzat, then that person automatically falls into the abyss of dhillat and humiliation. You are the one who gives us food. You're the one who satiates us when we are thirsty. Says who? Says Hadrat Ibrahim in the Quran. When Ibrahim is now in a debate with Nimrud, and Nimrud asks, who is your Lord? At that time, Ibrahim turns back, Hadrat Ibrahim, and says, Alladhi huwa yut'imuni wa yasqin وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَيَشْفِينَ. Says, my Lord is one who feeds me. Food that we take is not out of our own earnings. It is God who's providing it to us. يُطْعِمُنِي, He is the one who feeds me. وَيَسْقِينَ, and when I'm thirsty, He satiates me. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ, and when I fall sick, فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ, when I'm sick, He gives me shafa. He gives me life. He gives me death. He gives me sleep. He gives me wakefulness. He gives me sustenance. He gives me food. He satiates me. He cures me. You want me to go further? Everything belongs to God, comes from God with His explicit or implicit permission. Nothing can take place without His permission, either explicit or implicit. Even our laughter and our weeping is based on the permission of God. If God did not want us to laugh, we would not laugh. If God did not want us to weep and cry, we would not cry. Says who? Says the Quran. When He's talking about Himself, وَأَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى. Adhak means He makes people laugh. That means if He did not want people to laugh, we would not be able to laugh. وَأَبْكَى, He makes people cry. If He did not want us to cry, we would not cry. Sitting in the Imam Barga or sitting in the houses, listening to the majlis, if tears of Hussein come out of your eyes, understand it is by the permission of God. Tuba lakum, glad tidings to you that you have been given and I have been given permission by God to shed tears upon Hussein ibn Ali. How many times have we seen individuals who apparently appear to be very in rafa, in affluence, in good state, but when have you ever seen tears come out of the eyes for Imam Hussein alayhi salam? It's the chosen ones that God says, I want you to weep, because I want you to weep, and then that small little tear that comes out, that is equivalent to the size and the weight of a wing of a mosquito, فَلَهُ الْجَنَّةِ, for him will be paradise. I give you permission to cry, so that when you cry, I will then put you into heaven. It requires permission of God. That means the entire dominion functions. تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكِ, you give power to everything for everything. And that is why when we get up from the Quran, when we go to sajda and when we get up, what do we say? بِحَوْلِ اللَّهِ وَقُوَّتِهِ أَقُومُ وَأَقْعُدُ, by the howl and the power and the strength of God, I stand and I sit. So basically, Malik al-Mulk, Allahumma, oh Lord, you're Malik al-Mulk. You've got complete control over everything. You decide, you permit, you allow everything to happen. If you did not want it to happen, nothing would happen. Having said this authority that God has, which the Ayatul Mulk says, تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكِ مَنْ تَشَاءُ, you give this authority to individuals. This is the power of God. At times He gives this power to Sulaiman, Hadrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. At times He gives it to Dawood alayhi salam. At times He gives it to Hadrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. At times it is given to the Holy Prophet. At times it is given to Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. But at times it is also given to people like Muawiyah. And it is also given to people like Yazid. Both the categories of people that are given the power, it is all imtihan of God, with the permission of God. These people are tested with powers and those people are tested with powers. But the only thing that remains is the difference between them is the power given to the likes of Hadrat Sulaiman and Hadrat Dawood and Hadrat Ibrahim and the Hadrat of the Holy Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam is very different to what his imtihan is with respect to the power given to Muawiyah and Yazid. Over there, the power is given to them for the sake of imtihan and for one purpose, which the Quran says. Quran says, وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. These individuals to whom we have given power divide themselves into two categories. One, those people who, despite getting the powers, remain on the path of haqq and justice and adalat. And there are those, when the power comes to them, they get intoxicated and they go to the path of dhulm. These people whom we've given power and who have begun to tread the path of evil and dhulm, لا يحسبن الذين كفروا أنما نملي لهم خير لأنفسهم. The 10 years, the 2 decades, the 3 decades that we've given them power and they remain in the position of authority, complete dictatorship, complete authority over everything that they control within their sphere of influence. Do not think that we are giving them respite. That means that it is khair for them. إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ. We have left them, we give them a long leash. We've let them go. إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. So that they increase in their intransigence, so they increase in the disobedience, so they increase in their sins, so they increase in their evil ways. Why? فَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. Because a painful punishment awaits them when they come to us. And hence it becomes very interesting when you look at this word, when Allah says, "Qul, O my Prophet, tell them, Allahumma, O Lord, Malik al-Mulk, you are the master of the kingdom. You've got complete authority over the entire dominion of existence. Tu'til mulka man tasha." Careful, watch. Tu'til mulka man tasha. You give it to whom? The authority to whom you please. Wa tanza'u mimman tasha. And you take it away from whom you please. This is a wrong translation, and intentionally it was made a wrong translation by myself. Here the word is tanzi'ul mulka mimman tasha. You take away, wrong translation. You take away the authority from whom you've given. Normally when you, in Arabic language, when you give something, it's called tu'ati. You're giving, you've given, you're giving, you will give. And in opposite of that, in opposition to that, opposite to that, an antonym will be ta'khud, you take it. So tu'ati, you give, ta'khud, you take. Those who know Arabic will understand what I'm talking about. Here Allah does not say tu'til mulka man tasha, you give it to somebody whom you please, with ta'khud, you take it back. The word that he uses is tanzi'ul mulk. Tanzi'u is very different from ta'khud. Ta'khud is you take it. Tanza'u means you strip it off. A phone is lying on the table, you take the phone. Somebody's handing you a glass of water, you ta'khud, you take it. But when you strip a wallpaper off the wall, that is called tanza'u. Tanza'ul mulk. You strip it off. You strip off the wallpaper. God says, the Prophet says, is being told by God, tell the people, you Malik al-Mulk, you give authority to whom you please, and then you strip it away from those whom you please. Not take it away, strip it away. You know why this word tanzi'u has been used? This is the miracle of the Quran. Strip it away from them, the power that they had. The reason is this, that many times people, when they're given authority, and when they're given the power, this power becomes so intoxicating for them that they become attached to this power. They cling to the power. It becomes part of their flesh and blood, attached, intricately attached. When something becomes attached, then you don't take it. It will not come. You need to strip it away. That's why God says there are certain individuals, we give them the power. They use the power righteously. But there are individuals, when we give them the power, they go on a path, on a tangent. They turn into disobedience. They stand up against us in opposition to our commands. At that time, we don't just take it away, because the reason is that these people have become so intrinsically attached to that power that I cannot take it. I have to strip it off them. Tanzi'ul mulka mimman tasha. And that is why you find this word tanzi' also used repeatedly whenever the Masumin want to talk about death. When they talk about the seizing of the soul, many times the word uses tanzi', naza'. That's because man in this world, the soul of man becomes so attached to this world that when Malakul Maut comes to take the soul, it's not ya'khudh. He takes it. He can't, because it is so deeply entrenched into these attractions of the world. He doesn't want to leave. The soul doesn't want to leave the attractions of the world. And hence when Malakul Maut wants to take the soul, he can't. He doesn't take it. He seizes it and strips it from the body. This is where you get the pain of Sakaratul Maut. A pain 1,000 times more than a person being burnt alive. You know those traditions of the Holy Prophet. A pain 1,000 times more than the pain experienced by an animal when he's stripped, the skinned alive. Why? Because Malakul Maut has to strip the soul because of its intense and intricate attachment to the glitter and the dazzle of this material world. And that is why you have individuals who've overcome this material pleasures, who've left themselves detached from these material pleasures of the material world. When they leave, their souls are not naza. It's not taken or seized or stripped. It's taken very lightly. We don't even go to the Ma'asumin alayhimus salam, or the Shibh Ma'asumin of the likes of Hazrat Abbas and Bibi Zainab and the likes alayhimus salam. We're talking about ordinary individuals who are not of those caliber. Look at what Imam Khomeini, before he passed away, he writes a wasiyatnama. In that wasiyatnama, he's actually stating what he feels now that he's about to go. He says, Ba dili aram wa qalb mutma'in wa ruhi shad wa zamiri umidwari. Says, I, with a tranquil heart and a calm soul and a conscience which is hopeful of the mercy of God, I'm leaving you and I'm going from amidst you. Now this can only be said by an individual who has left his soul completely detached from the world, that he is now ready for Malakul Maut to come and say, and take the soul, not strip it. Ya'khud, not yanzi'. Take my soul, because my soul is not clinging to any material attachments of this world. People like me, he has to strip it, Malakul Maut, the angel of death, because my soul has got deep into the attachments of this world. It just will not be taken, it has to be stripped. But having said that, there's certain things that I need to explain to you. Having understood that God exhibits complete dominance over the entire world of existence, and this is what we need to realize. We have nothing in this world to say. We have no say in this world. Till God does not permit, things will not take place. Directly or indirectly, implicitly or explicitly, the permission and the will of God has to take place, has to be attached to a thing for it to be taking place. And this is important, because why does this happen? Tu'til mulk, the authority that God has, he has to, because he can give it to whomsoever he wants. Now, having understood this, I want to take you to a little step further. But in order to explain this, I need to explain an incident to you. Now that incident goes and related to Imam Khomeini when he was in exile in Iraq, in Najaf. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know, but Imam Khomeini had a son by the name of Mustafa Khomeini. That man was a genius of his time. People did not, his greatness was not manifested to the people. But that man was a mujtahid, he was a faqih, he was an adib, he was a mufassir, he was an arif. His death was a clandestine death. There were suspicions that the erstwhile Savak, the secret service of Shah, had a role to play in his death, which is sudden. All of a sudden, went to a hospital and he was announced dead. And Marhum Ayatollah Khui, Ayatollah al-Udma Sayyid Abul Qasim al-Khui recited his prayers in Najaf, his namaz-e-janazah. Ajib man. He was very close to his father, who, Sayyid Mustafa, close to Imam Khomeini in Najaf. He had a great attraction towards one alim and arif par excellence, Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri. Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri, one of the awliya of God, Sahib Karamat, Ajab man. He became enamored, captivated, completely besotted with Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri. And he would keep coming and telling his father, who, Imam Khomeini, there's this person, he's into Irfan, Ajab man, amazing personality. Imam Khomeini, being a mullah, being a scholar, being a learned person, had seen numerous charlatans in his life, and so he was very skeptical about when he heard such things, and he would tread very carefully, and he would say, okay, we need to know before we can attest anything to what you say. And one day, All of a sudden, Imam Khomeini comes to Sayyid Mustafa and says, Sayyid Mustafa, this person said Kashmiri that you're talking about, I want to test him whether what you say is correct. After this incident, what happens? They become very close and have a good relationship, but up to now, they've not come into great contact with each other. So Sayyid Mustafa says, okay, Father, tell me what you want me to do. Listen to the song. Imam Khomeini says, last night I dreamt a dream. That's okay. So what do you want me to do? He says, I want you to go to this teacher of yours that you're praising so heavily and you're talking about his great rank and supernatural abilities. Tell him, my father has seen a dream in last night. He's dreamt a dream. He wants you to tell him what that dream is, one. And he wants you to give him the ta'bir, the description, the ta'bir, this interpretation of that dream. Said Mustafa is saying, you're not telling the dream, you want him to tell the dream, and then you want him to give the interpretation of the dream. Well, it's the father, he didn't say anything. He goes to Sayyid Kashmiri, Abdul Karim Kashmiri, and he tells him, my father has seen a dream. He wants you to tell him what that dream is, and he wants you to interpret the dream for him. Said Abdul Karim Kashmiri tells him, Sayyid Mustafa, go tell your father that last night he dreamt the following dream. Your father dreamt that he had passed away. Having passed away, all the tajhizat of kafan and dafan had taken place. Ghusl was given to him, kafan was given to him, hunut was given to him, kafan was given to him. He was taken to the qabristan, tadfeen, dafan taken place. But when he was put, this is what Sayyid Kashmiri is telling Sayyid Mustafa, this is what your father dreamt. It says, as your father was being taken and put into the grave, your father dreamt that as he was put into the grave and the grave was covered, and he was put, when a person dies, he's turned to the right hand side, the face facing the Qibla. It says, when they placed him in that position so that his right hand side, the face was facing the Qibla, beneath his body there was a certain stone that was hurting his ribs and was inconveniencing your father. Your father was being inconvenienced by this, and he felt that pain. He's dreaming this. At that time, the pain was becoming a little too unbearable. All of a sudden, your father sees the wujood of the holy personality of Amirul Mu'mineen in his grave. And your father is watching this in the dream, that Amirul Mu'mineen comes into the grave, moves the body a little, removes that piece of stone, clears the path, clears that position, clears that area, puts the body back in its position, giving Ayatollah Khomeini rahat in the qabr. This is what your father witnessed in the dream. As for the interpretation of the dream, go and tell your father. The meaning of this dream is that in this endeavor that you have set out to bring about a revolution of Iran, you will be successful. This is the meaning of the dream. You will be successful. But understand and tell him that in his quest and in his desire to set up an Islamic state, he will face a lot of problems. But tell him, do not worry, because every time he faces a problem, Amirul Mu'mineen would come to him and will solve the problem. The problems of the revolution will be solved by Amirul Mu'mineen and his holy family. Go and tell this dream to Imam Khomeini. And years later, when Sayyid Mustafa Khomeini goes to Imam Khomeini and tells him, Imam says, not only was the dream right, but now having heard it, I am confident that this revolution is being supported by the Masumeen alayhimus salam. Something that was attested by Marhum Ayatollah Behjat when he said, numerous people in a state of mukashifa, neither asleep nor in a awake state of wakefulness, have met Amirul Mu'mineen, and Imam has said, we, not I, we, Iran is our home and we will protect Iran. We, at the time of Amirul Mu'mineen, in the time of now Imam al-Zamana, Ali and Ali are protecting the revolution of Iran. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this, the reason for all of this explanation is going back to Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri. This man who had not heard the dream of Imam Khomeini was not only able to relate the dream of Imam Khomeini, but also provide the interpretation of the dream which eventually comes out correct. Today we find out how true Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri was in his interpretation of the dream. This Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri has been going on record to Sayyid Mustafa, emphasizing one thing. He's saying, Sayyid Mustafa, you want to reach positions in life, take one prescription from me. Dua yastashir. Make sure don't lose out on dua yastashir. This dua yastashir is there in Mafatihul Jannah. If you read it slowly, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. You read it fast and quickly, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes. But the man of that caliber is telling Sayyid Mustafa Khomeini, recommending him one of the prescriptions of success in this life and the hereafter is dua yastashir. Where does Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri pick up this information from? From none other than Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Amirul Mu'mineen has gone on record to have stated, Allamani Rasulullah. The Holy Prophet taught this dua to me and said, Ya Ali, do not separate from this dua for as long as you are in this world. Read it morning and read it night, because this dua is one of the, you could say, treasures of the kunuz, the treasures of God. One of the treasures from the treasures of God. Keep reading it. And not only do you keep reading it, make sure that whoever is your Khalifa after you, meaning Imam Hassan alayhi salam, whoever is your Khalifa after you, make sure you teach him this dua and make sure you recommend to him to recite it in the same way as I am recommending you to recite it. Dua yastashir. Now park this, because I'm going to go a little later down and then come back to this as to why I mentioned this about dua yastashir. But when you look at dua yastashir, there is one sentence that I want. The reason why it is called dua yastashir. The reason that this dua is referred to as dua yastashir is that in the very first sentences, there is one sentence that brings about exactly what the Quran says. Tu'til mulk liman tasha. Allahumma malik al-mulk. You are the absolute authority of this universe. So when the start of Alhamdulillah alladhi la ilaha illahu al-malik al-haqq al-mubin, and then the verse comes, al-mudabbiru bila wazir wala min khalqin min ibadihi yastashir. From here comes the dua, name of the dua, dua yastashir. What is this verse saying? Wala khalqin min ibadihi yastashir. This verse says, Oh Allah, you run the entire world of existence without the need of a helper or the need of an advisor to advise you on it. Yastashir comes from the word ishara, mushawara, mustashar, means an advisor, a counselor. وَلَا مِنْ خَلْقٍ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ يَسْتَشِيرٌ. God you run the entire world of existence, the entire world that exists, whether it is the 7 heavens or the 7 aradeen, the 7 earths, everything under them and between them is run by your own self without the help of an advisor or a vizier or a counselor or a helper. You do it yourself, you can do it yourself. Everything is done by the work and the will and the permission of God. And why would he not? Why would he need an advisor? Al-mudabbiru, the words of dua yastashir, Al-mudabbiru bila wazir. You don't need any wazir. Wala khalqin min ibadihi yastashir. Nor do you consult, nor do you do mushawara, nor do you istikhara, nor do you take advice, nor do you take counseling from anybody in running this entire world of existence. You don't need to. Why? Because Surah Yasin keeps telling us every time. Telling us what? Telling us, look, because God has this characteristic, he doesn't need a wazir. Because God has this characteristic, he doesn't need a mushawir. He doesn't need consultation. He doesn't need a counselor. He doesn't need an advisor. What does Surah Yasin says? Surah Yasin says the characteristic of God when he wants to do something, إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَن يَقُولَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونَ. The work how God does is this. He doesn't need to strategize. He doesn't need to design. He doesn't need to plan. He doesn't need to sit on the drawing board. He doesn't need to execute. He doesn't need to implement. Innama amruhu, all that he needs to do, idha arada shay'an, when he desires something, whether it is as small as an atom or as big as a constellation, a solar system, a Milky Way galaxy, a cosmos with billions of galaxies. Innama amruhu idha arada shay'an, all that he needs to say is kun, be, fayakun, and it comes into existence. Atom, kun fayakun, comes into existence. Sun, kun fayakun, comes into existence. Moon, kun fayakun, comes into existence. The solar system, the Milky Way, the entire constellation, the entire world of existence in God's eyes, and the work that he does is kun, be, fayakun, and it comes into existence. When you have a personality, when you have an entity, when you have a wujud who does this, neither does he need a wazir, nor does he need somebody to advise and counsel him. Dua yastashir. And this dua has 11 benefits. The Rawat mentioned 11 amazing benefits. Let me just mention 3, otherwise then we'll lose out on tonight's lecture. Amazing 11 benefits, but 3 of them very quickly. 1, Rawat say, if 3 times dua yastashir is recited, Allah does not reject the person of his hajat. Somebody's got a hajat, says 3 times, one after the other, consecutively recite dua yastashir. Raise your hands by the wasila of this dua. He doesn't need to seek advice of anybody. Should I give him? Should I not give him? That you've invoked me by this name, that without mustashar, without mushawara, I will give you. I will give you. So 3 times consecutively recited, and the hajat sought, Rawat say, hajat given by God, inshallah. Second, Rawat says one of the benefits of dua yastashir is a protection in the qabr and barzakh. We get scared of death, yeah? We get scared. What will happen when we go down there? Have we habitated, have we decorated, have we ornamented that place that is called qabr? Or have we left it in ruins? Have we filled it up with scorpions and fire? This is one way to prevent ourselves from falling prey to all the vagaries of the barzakh in terms of punishments. Dua yastashir. And the third Rawat that talks about the benefit is for individuals, for ladies who are pregnant. This is one of the very effective mujarrab du'as to smooth and ease in the delivery of a lady who's pregnant at the time of delivery. Dua yastashir. 3 out of the 11 remaining we will keep it on. But this dua yastashir encompasses all of this aspect that he doesn't need. It's all one-man show. Now, because it is a one-man show, because everything is kun fayakun, because he is Malik al-Mulk, tu'til mulk man tasha. You are the one, he is the one who's Malik al-Mulk, complete authority and sovereignty of everything. Complete creation in his hands, complete mudabbira and tadbir and administration in his hands, complete functioning in his hands. This entity knows the ins and outs of his entire creation and the world of existence. He knows the secrets, he knows the asrar, he knows the mysteries, he knows the divinities, he knows X, Y, Z, A to Z, everything he knows about his creation, because it's all out of his kun fayakun. He knows things in and out. And when he knows things in and out, he knows the secrets of the universe. And when he knows the secrets of the universe, he knows what key opens which lock, and what key is used to unlock what. We have problems with finance, he knows the key that opens the treasures of sustenance and livelihood to come down upon us. We have problems with health, he knows which key will bring about shifa to us. We have domestic problems, he knows this is the key that will solve this problem. Social problems, this is the key that will solve this problem. Educational, medical, financial, social, X, Y, Z, whatever problems that we've got, there's a key and secret to opening the locks to solve our problems in this world and the hereafter. Who would know this better than the person or the entity who's created us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He or those whom he says ulul ilm, rasikhuna fil ilm, those who are submerged in knowledge. The holy Ahlul Bayt referred to as Ahlullah, the family of God. Not blood relation. All relationships are not blood relationships. all family relationships do not have to be blood relationships. Salman minna Ahlul Bayt never had any biological relationship of blood relationship with the Ahlul Bayt. But the ideology of Salman was so close and so in sync with the ideology of the Ahlul Bayt that the Prophet said, Salman minna Ahlul Bayt. No nasab relating to each other, no blood relationship, no family relationship. But yet the Prophet says, Salman minna Ahlul Bayt, because Salman is from my family, because his ideology and mindset is very similar to mine. He has synced his entire mindset to mine. And similarly, when we say Ahlul Bayt, whom they are Ahlullah, it's because their mindset is so much in sync with the mindset, if we may use the word mindset of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that God says, these are my family. No family relationship, no blood relationship. Qul huwallahu ahad, lam yalid walam yulad. But yet they will be my family, Ahlullah. And hence the intention of these entire series. Now we come to the topic. We're almost nearing to the masab now. Now we come to the topic. And this is what I said in the beginning. A strange structure tonight. Only for tonight. A strange structure. But after having completed the entire majlis, almost we come to the topic. And the topic is that this entity who has created the universe, whose Malik al-Mulk, whose the manner of working is kun fayakun, and because of which he knows the secrets and the mysteries and the asrar of the universe, we will try to pick up those asrar and secrets which have been passed from him to the Ahlullah, the Ahlul Bayt, and from them to us, for us to understand a few of them in the few nights that we've got, to sort out our problems in this world and the hereafter. One we've heard just today, Dua Yastashir. And this is what I said in the beginning. I will first talk about it and then give you the topic. Dua Yastashir. One of those kunuz, kanzum min kunuzillah, a treasure from the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Somebody of that caliber of Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri, who's able to understand, who's able to know this dream of Imam Khomeini living, sleeping in his bed, and is able to relate it and recount it word, frame by frame, and then give the interpretation of it as to what is going to happen, whose haqqaniyat is now established today and now after 40 years of the revolution still standing, says, you want success in this world and hereafter, Dua Yastashir. One of the secrets, one of the asrar for solving our problems in this world, rizq, solving our problems in this world, hajat, 3 times continuously, in this world and the hereafter. Barzakh, worried about barzakh, worried about the qabr, worried about the punishment, Dua Yastashir. And this is how we will start picking up. Tonight, tomorrow night, day after tomorrow night, for whatever period that God grants us permission to be with each other. The divine secrets. And it is because of this understanding. Which understanding? Allahumma Malik al-Mulk. God, you are the supreme power of the world and the dominion of existence. The entire power lies with you. Implicit or explicit, it has to have, anything has to have your permission for it to take place. It was this knowledge that gave Janabe Zainab that authority, that confidence, that valor, that bravery to stand up before Yazid in the darbar of Yazid, in the court of Yazid, and tell him, said, Yazid, what are you talking? You know, when he says that, did you see كيف رأيت صنع الله بأخيك الحسين? Have you seen what Allah has done with your brother Hussein on the plains of Karbala? And he says, look what God has done, look how you've been humiliated. At that time, you know what Hazrat Zainab turns to him and says? He says, you don't understand, Yazid, what you're talking about. This is the work of Malik al-Mulk. تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء. He's the one who gives the power to people, and he's the one who strips away the power from people. Then she turns to him and says, Ya Yazid, what are you talking? Kid kaidak was'a sa'yak ونعصب جهدك فوالله لن تمحو ذكرنا. Do kid kaidak, conspire your conspiracies. واسع سعيك, implement your plannings, execute them. Wajahid wa nasib jahdak, and put your full effort behind every execution that you want to do. For wallahi, I swear by God, Janab Zainab is saying, I swear by God, lan timhu dhikrana, you will not be able to erase our names. You will not be able to erase our names. This, what Sayyid Abdul Karim Kashmiri said, was 40 years that we see it's coming true. But look at what Janab Zainab said in that state of absolute imprisonment. The brother has died, the family has been decimated. One nephew is the Imam of the time, who's barely able to survive because of his sickness. Entire entourage in a state of captivity, absolutely subjugated. There she stands and says, for wallahi, I swear upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lan tamhu dhikrana, you will not be able to erase and delete our names. Yazid, you thought that bringing us on the plains of Karbala, isolated from the entire habitation and inhabited world, isolating us in a small little place, surrounding us with 30,000 forces, if you think that you're going to erase our names, you will not, by God, be able to do that. Today, 1400 years later, we see that in Karbala. Come Ashura, come Arba'in, millions of people says, Labbaik ya Hussein, Labbaik ya Zainab. This was not out of random words that Bibi Zainab said. It was because of a conviction in what Malik al-Mulk is. So you can't fight Malik al-Mulk. You can't fight that entity who's given you the power, because that same entity has got the power to strip this power and authority of you, which is going to do very soon, but not from us. And this Bibi Zainab, with such valor and shujaat, do you know what's going on in her mind right now? Do you know what's going on in her mind right now? Her two children own Muhammad. We have no option. We and you and me have been graced to be here, to be commemorating the martyrdom, the masa'ib, the musibah of the family of the Holy Prophet. And khususan, bil khusus, Imam Hussein and Bibi Zainab. This is the grace, and we need to turn to God and say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We need to plead to Him and say, now that you've given this favor to us, make sure that this favor remains to us till we don't leave from this world. We've been graced because everything comes with the permission of God. Today that I am reciting and you are listening, and both of us are commemorating and doing the Aza of Hussein ibn Ali, it is because of the permission of God. No other things, nothing else. And here we have to understand what's going through Zainab's mind. You know, Shabi Ashur, Bibi Zainab gets Awna Muhammad in front, and she tells them something. He says, look, tomorrow is the day of Ashura, and tomorrow we're going to fight. The battle is there. My brother has told me, I know it's going to take place. But as a mother, I've just got one request for you. As a mother, I've got just one request for you. Do not do anything tomorrow that will make me embarrassed and make me shamefaced before my mother Fatima Zahra on the day of judgment. She just had to say this, and the kids started to cry. Oh mother, why do you think we would do this? We would not want you to become embarrassed and mortified before our grandmother Fatima Zahra. He says, I will watch you tomorrow how you fight. Shabi Ashur finishes up. The day of Ashur comes and the fight begins. The jihad begins, and slowly each one starts getting killed. The ashab of Imam Hussein alayhi salam get killed, and now comes the turn of the Bani Hashim. And every time Awna Muhammad would go to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and says, oh uncle, let us go for battlefield. Let us go for battle. Let us go to the battlefield. And every time Imam Hussein would say, how can I let you, the children of my sister Zainab, go? I can't allow you to go. I can't allow you to die. And every time they would come back dejected, sad and disappointed, till at one time when, as the people were getting killed, Janab Zainab looks at them and says, are you still alive? How come it is that you've not gone for jihad? And little kids fold their hands and start crying. Says, oh mother Zainab, we've gone numerous times to Uncle Hussein, but he does not give us permission. We are ready for battle. We are ready to die. We want you to stand up with with pride in front of Fatima to Zahra, our grandmother, on the Day of Judgment, but we're not getting an opportunity to go. Bibi Zainab realized she needed to do something. So she moves out of her tent and goes to the tent of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. As she enters the tent of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, yeah, Bibi Zainab, whenever she would enter, whatever state Imam Hussain would, he would stand up. Even when he would be reciting the Quran and Bibi Zainab would come, Imam Hussain would close the Quran and stand up out of respect for Bibi Zainab. Where Quran, where Karbala, we're reciting Quran in the house in Medina. We're preparing for jihad and shahadat in Karbala. As soon as Bibi Zainab enters, Imam Hussain stands up. Oh, my sister Zainab, what brings you here? You could have called me. Janab Zainab now a very different manner of talking. After the initial formality, she asks a question to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He says, oh brother Hussain, your sister has got a request and she needs a favor from you. Would you be able to fulfill her favor, fulfill her request? As soon as Imam Hussain heard this, he couldn't believe his ears. He turns to Bibi Zainab and says, Zainab, what are you saying? You don't have to request, you order me. That's how much I love you as my sister. But you know what, Zainab? From the time that you were small, my ears have been craving for you to come and tell me, oh brother Hussain, I need a favor from you. From the time that we were small, I wanted you to come and seek a favor, seek a request, but you never asked anything of me. My ears were craving that a time would come when my dear sister would ask me something so that I'm able to do something for her. I can't believe my ears, Zainab. Tell me, I will give it to you if it is in my control. Zainab comes to Imam Hussain and says, oh Hussain, send my owner Muhammad for jihad to be sacrificed for you. As soon as Imam Hussain hears this, tears start flowing down his eyes. Oh Zainab, decades have passed that you've asked me now for the first time a request, and I told you I would grant that request, but what a request you have done. I've always wanted to shield Owner Muhammad from battlefield because I knew they were your sons. I could not love, my heart did not allow them to go. But now that you've asked, I will not turn you down. I will send them to the battlefield myself. Abbas, come here. Abbas comes. Hussain comes. Oh no, Muhammad are brought. Abbas dresses up Hussain, one brother. Hussain dresses up the other brother for the battlefield. Little children finding it difficult to go onto the horses now. Hussain takes one and puts it to the horse. Abbas takes the other brother, puts them to the horse, takes them out into the battlefield. Hussain is watching. Abbas is watching. These two little lions from the family of Bani Hashim enter into the battlefield. As they enter into the battlefield, they start doing jihad. But little children, 10 years around age, how could they battle against those battle-hardened warriors? They fight till a time comes when one brother falls down, the second brother falls down. Both of them, as they fall down, they call to their uncle, oh Imam Hussain, Adrikni, help us. Hussain tells Abbas, let's go and pick them up. Hussain goes, Abbas goes, they reach Abu Aun, they reach Muhammad. One brother dies, elder is alive, elder brother dies. The two lashas are picked up. One Abbas picks up, one Hussain picks up. They come inside, all the lashas, all the dead bodies that were fallen onto the battlefield. When they were brought into the tent of Bani Hashim, they would all gather together, and all the ladies would start the nauhas, would start the nudbas, would start the bayan, would start the matam, would start the weeping, would start the mourning, would start the grieving. And at the forefront of all of them would always be that lady of the daughter of Fatima Zahra, the lady Sayyidah Zainab Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha. She would be the first one to weep over the dead person. More than the mother of the deceased and the shaheed, she would be weeping. But this time there is something different. This time there is something different. Hussein comes with Aun, Abbas comes with Muhammad. They're laid onto the floor of the tent. All the BBs, all the ladies are now mourning and weeping. Hussein looks around. Zainab is not to be seen amongst them. Abbas looks around. Zainab is not to be seen. Where is Zainab? Where is Zainab? Hussein begins to look around the tent. What does he see? What does he see? He sees Zainab sitting on the musalla, hands raised to the skies. Oh Allah, accept this qurbani of mine, of my two sons on Muhammad. Accept these two qurbani of my sons on and Muhammad. Make me not embarrassed before my mother Fatima Zahra on the day of judgment. But I need to mention one more point before we conclude today's Masaib. Listen, we've come here to give condolences to Bibi Sayyida, Bibi Zainab. We've come here to express our love and muhabbat for this holy family. And what more to present our aqidat, our love, our affection and our following of Bibi Zainab than to commemorate her deceased and martyred children, Aun Muhammad. See, one issue that was different for Bibi Zainab compared to all the mothers is this: the most profound love between two individuals, humans in this world, has always been the relation and the love between the mother and the child. But Janab Zainab has never been able to express her love and grief and cry over her children for the entire duration of this incident of Karbala. The way it ought to be that a mother cries over the death of her son or two sons, Zainab was never able to do. You know why? Because when Aun Muhammad were killed and came, before they were martyred, it was Janabi Ali Akbar alayhi salam that was martyred. So while Aun Muhammad's body came, Hussein's daughter, Hussein's sister Zainab was crying more for Ali Akbar than for Aun Muhammad. Her entire tears were more for Ali Akbar than for Aun Muhammad. Come the shahadat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the entire gham now moves from Ali Akbar to Imam Hussain. Aun Muhammad has still not cried over as a mother ought to cry for her children. All the hum and gham and tears and weeping and nudbana for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. When the cut heads are brought about, the closest head that Hussein's daughter, wife or sister would want to move, Zainab would want to move, would be with the head of Hussein, not with Aun Muhammad. When they went to Kufa and from there to Sham, and when they were about to leave Karbala to in this journey towards Sham, as the entourage was taken towards all the shuhada, every shaheed's mother would fall upon their shaheed. Layla on Akbar, Rabab on Razgar, Farwa on Qasim. But Zainab, instead of falling herself and crying over Aun Muhammad, falls on the ground, the body of Hussein ibn Ali. Again, Aun Muhammad are left unaccounted for, unwept for in the manner kama haqquhuma, just as they ought to be cried for. When they go to Sham, after they are released, Janab Zainab says, I want to go to Karbala for the Arba'in. When they go to Karbala for the Arba'in, the same thing happens. Every mother falls upon the grave of their own shaheed. Again, Qasim's mother falls upon the grave of Qasim. Akbar's mother falls upon the grave of Akbar. Asgar's mother falls upon the grave of Akbar. Aun Muhammad's mother Zainab doesn't fall upon the grave of Aun Muhammad. She falls upon the grave of Hussein ibn Ali and she is weeping. She is still not wept kama haqquhuma, as she would like to have cried as a mother upon Aun Muhammad. There she is crying for Hussein ibn Ali till the entire entourage goes towards Medina. When they reach Medina, all the hum and gham was Ali Akbar, all the hum and gham was Hussein, all the huzn was Hussein, all the musibat was Hussein. Complaining to Ali, to the Holy Prophet, was Hussein ibn Ali's problems. Complaining to Mother Fatima and Baqi was Hussein's problems. Never Ona Muhammad comes into our minds. Till now she enters Medina, enters into the Mahalla and the locality of Medina of Bani Hashim. Till she enters into her house. All along it was Ali Akbar. All along it was the Shuhada. All along it was Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Till Zainab now enters her own house. As she enters her own house, opens the door. As she opens the door and turns into the room of Ona Muhammad, she sees two small musallas lying on the ground. Now the dam of emotion of Zainab bursts. Now the love of mother comes forth. She rushes forth, picks up the musalla, turns to Karbala. Oh my sons On and Muhammad, your mother did not cry for you as she ought to have cried. Now I remember you. How much I miss you, oh my own. How much I miss you, oh my Muhammad. My thanks to you, oh my sons. You did not leave me ashamed before my mother Fatima. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون ألا ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. ماتم حسين.
शेने सदा दी बहन मर गए जा